are these people?
Edison Research. I don't know if you've heard of Edison Research. Most people haven't. They're the company that conducts all the exit polls for the networks. And they've basically been owned by a conglomerate that the networks have owned and controlled. Well, they got sold this week. And nobody really noticed or paid attention. But it came across my thing because I read a publication called Podcast Tonight. And because they do podcast ratings, this showed up on their radar. So this was a press release from a company by the name of SSRS. I've never heard of them. But they apparently were large enough to acquire Edison Research. And SSRS, as it turns out, is a pretty big market research firm. A full-service market research and survey research firm announced today it's acquired Edison Research. Okay. And Edison, very famously in the Venezuela elections, was complaining that Maduro was not legally elected. They're the only organization that claimed that because they have funding from USAID and NAD. We believe that they're CIA connected. Again, they've been around since 2003. Edison Research has been the sole provider of election day polling for the National Election Pool in the United States. They've conducted election polls internationally with projects spanning Europe, Africa, and the Middle East and Latin America. They're also known worldwide for its influential studies on audio, podcasting, and digital media. So what this means to me is that this is another layer of a corporation now taking over the exit polling. So for 20 years, it was Edison Research. And they may even continue the brand of Edison Research because it is a well-known, somewhat well-known established brand within the media world. But they may also just roll it right into SSRS and just now the polling data comes from SSRS. And it changes the perception of that data because part of it is the company that's linked to it. People are familiar with Edison Research and that there have been anomalies and weirdness regarding Edison Research that literally just cleans the slate for them. And now they're going in unknown. They're an unknown quantity to most people. Who's SSRS? I don't know. How accurate is the data? Well, we're the biggest research firm in the world. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out here is that they talk about how they're exclusive. All right. Edison Research founders, Joe Lenski and Larry Rosen, will be joining the leadership of SSRS. So one of them, I believe, has pretty deep intel connections. Right. And then you've also got, there was one other thing I wanted to point out, that they are like exclusive. All right. They're the only people that conduct exit polling. They're the only, here it is, Edison Research's The Infinite Dial has been the survey of record for digital audio, social media, podcasting, smart speakers, and other media-related technologies since 1998. They don't have a competitor. The company's share of ear survey is the only single measure source of all audio in the United States. So basically whatever they say is, and they claim to be transparent, and they claim to be able to share their research. Do they? I've never seen any of it. Really interesting. All right. This is their section about political polling and what they consider to be a suite of innovative tools for political and election polling. And this guy, who is the EVP, who has been in some really weird places overseeing elections like Venezuela, Iraq, Ukraine, Egypt, Kuwait, Senegal, and the Republic of Georgia. Interesting basket of countries.
Weird list. Yeah, especially with Ukraine in there.
And I would say Iraq. I mean, did he oversee like the reinstitution of the institution of free and fair elections in Iraq? Because we all know how that went. Huh. And we all know how Venezuela, they were the only ones that contended that Maduro didn't win that election. The only organization worldwide.
Right. The only org.
So
and I'm
that's
sure
SSRS.
in Ukraine they helped Zelensky get to power after a coup.
Hey,
You know?
he who counts the ballots is the most important figure there is in an election, right? All right.
Yep.
Next, Sludge is another good outlet that I rely on quite a bit. Two guys that follow the money. Boeing's arms sales thrive on Gaza genocide. So just how much money they're making, $26.7 billion in approved Israel arms sales since October 7th. Boeing stands out as a top beneficiary of the Gaza war. So check that one out.
Yep.
I also wanted to make note that Alan McLeod, Indie Media Award honoree with Indie Media Award honoree Mint Press News, published an article that social media spies are deleting their profiles and that their profiles are vanishing after the Mint Press report that exposed their LinkedIns. Then all of a sudden, those LinkedIns are nowhere to be seen. Huh, how interesting. All right. This actually was an article covered in 2023 by Jesse and Reef on INN News. They read this article 2 years ago.
Yep. TikTok Trojan Horse. Go check that out. Scroll back up and look at the names real quick. Like one of the spots has the names. Like scroll down, scroll up. One of those directions.
Right there. Dawn Burton, Jeff Carlton, Haley Chang, all those people. Yep. CIA go away. Interesting. All right. There's now a jarring 2-year employment gap on this person's resume between his establishment with the Scouts and working with Twitter. Who is this? This is Anderson.
Sure.
Mr. Anderson.
Anderson.
Greg Anderson, who until 2019, according to his LinkedIn profile, worked on PSYOPs and soldier system lethality for NATO. Huh.
Nice.
Now he's got an employment gap. Now he didn't do that anymore. It's off LinkedIn. Go check this one out for sure. Finally, I wanted to point out that I have an exclusive from a member of the community who reached out to me and sent me a DM.
Okay.
Sam Hill at Witshit UK said, "Hey, Andy, hope you're doing good. Several members of the Defend Our Juries Signal Chat group that have been charged under Section 13 are reporting that PayPal have closed their accounts. I don't think this has been reported anywhere yet. He's still currently pre-charge awaiting his fate. Matt from the Homeless Left, shout out to Matt, covered his arrest last month. What crazy times we live in," and that's Sam Hill. So shout out to Sam Hill. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we're going to keep looking into that, but I wanted to give you that as an exclusive told to me by someone who was arrested on that Defend Our Juries protest. And again, Defend Our Juries is also protesting on behalf of Palestine Action. Support independent media wherever you can, please. If you can do that here on this network, the ways to do that, Cash App, $, Indie News Network, code-fee.com/Indie News Network, PayPal.me/Indie News Network. We got IndieNewsNow.com where we are live now. We've got a big news site set up over there. INNNewsletter.com where we go live next for Boat Smashing and Other Boats. And at IndieMediaToday.com where we're live now. And you could tip us or support monthly or annually with a contribution over there. Okay. One other thing is just now the GoFundMes and getting into the people that we want to support. All right. Chanda, first of all, I did a one-on-one with Chanda and we published it about 10 days ago. Oz ran it on the Beauty and the Boomer channel. Appreciate Oz for doing that. And it helped Chanda raise $1,000, which she was able to get a laptop so that she could continue to live stream as she has to do that from bed now. So you can watch the full one-on-one over at INNNewsletter.com. Also over at all the INN channels. But you can watch that over there, and links to support Chanda, links to her GoFundMe, links to all of her channels are all right there. Links to the GoFundMe is right there, by the way. So, and then here is her GoFundMe She's up to almost $6,000 raised out of 10. That's the goal. She recently put up an update on October 7th. That was the last time. And she just recently underwent another round of chemo and treatments this week. Next, I want to talk about Cowboy Kitty and his sister-in-law, Nataliya. She is due to have a hearing, I believe, on November 7th was the last time. But as we have been pointing out, that at her last immigration hearing, she broke down and started crying, and that the judge was angry about that and denied her request for bail. She's been there, again, that was in September, now almost 4 months, held by ICE, prisoner, and is not a flight risk or a danger to anyone. Please share and please donate this GoFundMe if you can. All right, they're about 37% of the way to their $4,500 goal. I wanted to talk about Aspen Martin and Halo Benson. Last night on INN, we ran the one-on-one conversation that I had with them about 10 days ago. And we announced that we are going to be hosting a live stream fundraiser that's going to help them pay for their legal expenses. So let me run this real quick, 35 seconds. So Misty's going to host. Aspen and Halo are going to be there. Dissent and Bloom's going to show up and talk about her article and her research on Georgia prisons. Jesse's going to play some songs. And that'll be a week from this Wednesday. And that'll be a week from this Wednesday. All right. So join us on INN, co-hosted over on Dissent and Bloom over on Substack. Thank you to her for hosting, for helping raise awareness and doing all she's doing. I also, that's also, by the way, on INN's YouTube channel. You can give it a like, share. If you want to share the notification and the details about the fundraiser, you can do that at INN's YouTube channel. Dropping frames. And we're back. This is Aspen's GoFundMe. This is Aspen's GoFundMe. All right. So you can support over there. Let me again drop the link for the GoFundMe over in the chats. All right. So support her there. What is this? India just said barely enough material. I said I barely had enough to do a show, right? That's right, Arps. All right. Then we had the one-on-one. I was going to show there is linked as well. That's where I talked with Halo and Aspen for a little bit, for about an hour. All right. Again, shout out to Oz and shout out to Dissent and Bloom for help with the editing on that after we had done the recording. I went on Hardlens Media to talk about Dissent and Bloom's article, as well as to talk about Aspen and Halo and try to raise some awareness and help get some people over there. So give that a like. Go watch that segment. Aspen's Epic Battle for Freedom. All of these will be in the Substack description after the show. I also went on Prolepilled with Himbo and Crab to talk about this. Yes, I didn't like these as INN's account. But again, the clip published just yesterday, Aspen's story, the Georgia jail that broke an autistic woman in 15 days, looking at 33 years. Shout out to Amber King from Brave New Future. Also, she set up a link tree on behalf of Aspen that has links to view some of these videos, get a press kit, the article, the GoFundMe, and the video. You can see all of that here. linktr.ee/justice and the number 4 Aspen. And finally, like I said, we are live over at Indie News Now. I just want to show everybody that this is what the website looks like. It is constantly updating 24/7 with new articles and videos from over 100 sources, including INN and including Fight Back News and including Left Voice, including your favorite creators and including Again, the INN 8 The Ocho, which we're going to be live on in a few minutes. All right. Then we've got our merch store also. Buy my merch. So the merch store is over at Big Frog. And we've got t-shirts. We've got, thank you. We've got beanies. We've got tank tops. We've got stickers.
Look at my shirt, little bitch.
So pick up some INN merch over at the Indie News shop, which you can get to by going to indienewsnow.com and clicking on the merch link. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. We'll see you next week. Love you, fam. Thanks, everyone.
Hasta la vista, baby. I'll be back.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want?